Hello, everybody. Welcome back to How to Draw. This is episode 16, How to Draw Noses. This is going to be part one. I'll do part two in the next episode. So my note here is basically just saying noses are they can be pretty challenging to draw, but honestly, with a little bit of practice, you really can draw something fairly convincing with just a little bit of practice. So we're going to get into some basics here. These are kind of the basic shapes that the nose structure kind of makes, and I'm laying these out just as a beginning stage of so you can get an idea of what it actually is that we're trying to draw. So from the front view, it's kind of like a triangular pyramid shape, and then from the side view, it's really a triangular shape. It's mostly it's a triangular shape really in all views, but I'm just trying to really break it down as simple as possible to give you an idea of what it looks like in its most basic forms. So there's a front view, side view, and 3/4 views from each side. So again, the nose is a triangular shape. And it's not really a triangle, but it makes the shape of a triangle from top to bottom. This is something I actually learned while doing my research for this episode. So I'm actually learning along with teaching. It's kind of fun. There's different types of noses, and they all have names. And I didn't know that. I didn't know that there were names for what your nose looks like. There's more than 6 different types, but I figured, okay, we don't need to know all of them, so I'm just going to tell you 4 of them. So number 1 is the Greek nose. The Greek nose is where the bridge is completely straight, and it looks like perfectly straight in a profile view, and it's a very, very nice, attractive nose, and it looks perfect in the profile. The next type of nose here that I'm drawing is called a flat nose. This is also sometimes referred to as, like, you might see it like called a snub nose or something, where the bridge of the nose doesn't really protrude out at all or very little. And so you might not see hardly any of the bridge, and then you'll just see like the nostrils on the sides. And then let's see, what's this next one here? Oh, this one is interesting. This is called a retroussé nose. Retroussé is a French term. And basically, what's happening here is where the nose curves, and then like the tip of the nose kind of is facing up. You see these on a lot of petite women have noses like this. A lot of celebrities have noses like this. Some people might even get nose jobs to have noses like this. Michael Jackson. Anyway, the next one here is the 4th type of nose that I'm just going to show you, and it's called the aquiline nose. Aquiline. This is also called a Roman nose. And what happens with these types of noses is the bridge of the nose kind of sticks out more, and then it kind of comes down. You see this type of nose on a lot of rough-looking guys, like especially in cartoons or something like that. Um, or if the guy's nose is broken, it might look like he's got that type of a nose where the bridge kind of sticks out. But my type of nose is actually a Greek nose. I have a very, very straight bridge. I don't have any really defects in my bridge or anything like that. I'm pretty straight. So now what I'm doing here is I'm going ahead and just drawing a basic anatomy diagram for you. Again, if you want to follow along with what I'm drawing, by all means, pause the video and draw what I'm drawing. So the first set there is the nasal bones. This is just going to be a front view. So those are the bones of the bridge of the nose, and then coming off of that is all cartilage. It's not bone. The nose part of your nose is really not bone. It's all cartilage, and I'm indicating that here. So that next part is cartilage, and then there's cartilage on the tip of the nose also, which I'm drawing here. And actually, the two sides of the nose kind of form these two balls, like at the tip. And you'll see in a lot of people, they'll have like a crease in the middle of their nose, and that's basically both sides of the nostrils coming together. So here I'm just giving you an example of just the basic anatomy. I don't know, I thought it would be good to just show you real quick. So that's a nose. It's really, that's all it is. It's basically just a bunch of cartilage and a few bones. And depending on how large like your nose bridge is, or how curved it is, or if it's sticking out or anything like that, that literally forms the shape of what the rest of your nose looks like. So it all depends on what your bridge is shaped like. And I'm not gonna lie, I still have trouble with noses. It's a tough shape to get right sometimes. So I'm just trying to clean these lines up a little bit. But those two circular shapes at the very tip there, you'll often see people with that split in their nose, and that's accurate. That's the two nostrils coming together basically. That's what I saw in my study before I filmed this. So everything else except the bone is really all cartilage. It's like cartilage below the bridge, and then cartilage on the nose tip, and then all that other stuff. So here what I'm drawing is I'm showing you what the nostril opening looks like. I'm just drawing it kind of a close-up of a nostril to show you what it looks like, and how you can draw it. And like I said, again, pause the video if you want to follow along and draw what I'm drawing. If you're following all my videos at this point in the video series, you should be able to draw some of these basic shapes. And if they take a while, that's fine. Just pause and go at your own pace. So you notice I put basically the hole, I'm going to say the hole for the nose, the nostril hole in there, and seemed like I got it in there fairly easily, right? Well, I mean, I kind of figured out what shape it actually makes, and I'm going to show you that here in a second. So I ended up trying to shade in the underside of that nostril, and I just decided to erase it and leave it all line work because that's what we're trying to learn. We're just trying to learn how to draw it right now. Not really trying to do shading lessons right now. I'll get into that later. Oh, so yeah, my note. The nostril hole is basically like kind of like an upside down 6. If you see the way I drew it, it basically looks like an upside down 6. And so you can draw that to help you draw your nostrils. Okay, so page 2 here is going to start. And I didn't realize I didn't have the camera centered for this one. I apologize. I didn't notice. It's a little off center. Okay, so now what I'm drawing is I'm sketching like the underside of a nose, what that looks like. I'm just sketching that out for you here to show you. Again, I'm not doing basic shapes really right now. I'm kind of going a little bit more in detail to show you this, but you can draw this if you want to, but again, follow along. Just pause the video. But here I'm just drawing the underside, what it looks like from below. We don't usually see noses in this view, but it's good to know what they look like from this viewpoint. So there you can see I sketched the center, and then I'm sketching in the sides of the nostrils, and then finishing it up here. One thing I do have trouble with is placing the nostril correctly in multiple different views. Like when you're trying to draw multiple different angles, getting the nostril to look right, even if it's at an odd angle or something like that, that's still a challenge for me. Because what you don't want is you don't want your noses to look like a pig nose. You don't want it looking like an animal or something like that. You want it to look halfway realistic. So here what I'm drawing is I'm drawing basically a close-up view of what we just drew on the left-hand side there. I'm drawing like a larger view of what the nostril shape looks like. It's kind of like you could think like it kind of looks like a wing coming out, or maybe like a hook, and that's the side of the nose. Like that's basically what the side of the nose looks like, and you can connect that to the other side, and there you have a nose shape. Also, I didn't write this, but it also kind of looks like a heart, like an upside down heart, maybe. Yeah, but like I said, typically we don't see the nose from the complete underside. I mean, so I just wanted to show you that. So anyway, now what we're doing is I'm basically going through all the steps of how to draw a basic nose from the front viewpoint. So step number one, you're going to want to sketch your guideline for your center line. You always want to put a guideline in that helps you with symmetry. Step number two is you're going to sketch the shape of the upper bridge. Like this is kind of the shape that the bone makes above the very like the top of the bridge of the nose. So you can sketch that in. Step three is you can sketch the ball of the nose down at the bottom. This is the way I do it. So, I mean, if you want to figure out a way to do it that's better, go ahead. But this is the way I sketch in the nose. So then you do the ball at the bottom, and then you want to sketch in your front plane of the nose. So this is like the front of the bridge of the nose, basically. If you're looking at it from the front, you would basically just see a frontal edge, and that's what I just drew there, that frontal edge. Okay, so now here what I'm doing, step 5, I'm sketching in the nostril lines, basically. Like from a perfectly straight on front view, you wouldn't see the nostril holes. You would just see, well, depending on what your nose shape is like, you may or may not, but on my nose, you can't see them. If it's perfectly straight on, you can't see the holes. So I sketched in where the curvature would be for the nostril up on the bottoms, and then I'm sketching in the sides of the nostril there, making sure to have each side aligned correctly with the correct heights and everything, because I'm really picky like that. I'm very picky about symmetry. I try to make it as good as I can. So step 7 is going to be sketching the side planes. So I make a note later here on what this actually is, but you want to sketch in the side planes of your nose because you can see some of the sides from the front. And then step 8, you're going to finish your nostrils. And then here you can see I'm trying to put the nostrils in, but I'm going to end up realizing it doesn't look good, so I just left them out. But from a perfectly straight on front view, you don't always see the nostril holes. So I checked that in the mirror. So I mean, on my face you can't see them. So I left them out. So there, what I shaded was just the side planes of the nose, and I'm gonna make a note here about that in a minute. But I mean, a lot of these, quote unquote, a lot of these lines you don't really see on the face. I mean, they're not really lines. I mean, I'm gonna make a note here saying that real quick. Yeah, so I'm just saying that for those side plane lines that I drew from the top of the bridge of the nose down to the corners of the nostrils, there's not really lines there. It's basically the bones, the side bones of the nose making that shape. And like everything in life, there really aren't lines around everything, but this is a drawing, and so that's why we're putting a line in to indicate the side plane. There really isn't a line there. It's just that's how we draw it if we're trying to make a drawing. And this one is saying most of these lines, you could erase them later, depending on what look you're going for. And here I'm just going to be sketching a couple different examples of different looks for noses. Like here, I'm just doing a really quick. You could leave your nose just like that. You could draw just that and leave it and not draw anything else. And it would be good enough. I mean, you could draw just that and it still looks like a nose. But I like to go further with the nose. I like to try to draw the bridge of the nose, the side planes, because it's more, it just adds more dimension to the face. Here I'm just saying some styles of art don't even draw the nose. They just draw the nostril holes as two really small black shapes, and then they leave it. And I've seen this pulled off very, very well. And if you do it right, it looks good. Because our eye makes up the rest. It's pretty crazy. And then here I'm just drawing another one. Another quick example. So I see a lot of noses like if you're looking at like a Joker nose or something from the Joker, or somebody that's really thin might have a nose that looks like this. Kind of looks like a spade, like a spade from a deck of cards, where it's a really, really pointy nose towards the tip. Okay, on to page 3. So yeah, I apologize. I didn't realize that my camera's not centered. I'm gonna have to work on camera placement and camera movement. So now what we're doing is I'm showing you some different nose types based on the types that we learned on the first page. I'm going to show you some more fleshed out examples of what that might look like. And there I'm just saying the Greek nose is probably the most common type of nose. I don't know for sure how common it really is, because there's all sorts of different people in the world, but I don't know. It's called a common nose as well as a Greek nose, so yeah, I'm just getting it sketched in here, and just to show you, and I mean, these aren't really finished examples, I guess, but I went a little bit farther than, just basic lines and shapes. So here's the retroussé nose, where it's kind of turned up at the tip, where it looks more curved and I guess maybe a little smaller. A lot of smaller women have noses like that. Not everyone, but some of them. And again, if I was drawing an actual face, I wouldn't draw the nose like this. I would basically take out some of the harder lines, and I would leave in just the lines that I needed to show the shape. I wouldn't draw all of these lines. So there's an example of a more flat nose. And then here I'm drawing the aquiline type nose, aquiline type nose, where it kind of comes out farther, or the bridge comes out farther. And like I said, if I was drawing an actual face, I wouldn't be drawing all these lines. These are just lines to show you the dimension and the shape. Sorry about that. My computer is going off. I'm kind of wondering if the speed effect kind of slowed down here on this last section, but you know what? It's fine. To me, that looks like real speed. It's fine. I'm just gonna leave it. I'm not gonna edit it again. I thought something was off with this. I think what happened earlier was I think I screwed up with, I accidentally trimmed a part of the video off, and then I had to put it back or something when I was editing, and I don't know. So this looks like real time to me, but that's fine. I'm gonna let you watch me draw. So you can tell me in the comments. Do you guys have trouble drawing noses? I do. I still do after all this time. It's very it can be very hard to get the shapes right. I'm just trying to think of some of my thoughts on how drawing noses over the years. When I first started drawing, I really didn't know how to get the shapes to look at all three-dimensional, and I basically just drew, like, you know, a couple lines to try to indicate it, and it really looked terrible when I was drawing noses the first time. When you don't draw noses at least convincingly, the face can look really bad. Like, that's the whole point of this video, is for us to at least be able to draw a convincing nose. We don't have to draw something perfect, but at least it should at least be convincing. So here what I'm actually doing is I'm just drawing that top shape of the shape that the upper above the bridge kind of makes. It's like a small bone above the bridge, and that's the kind of shape it makes. So I'm just kind of showing that again. But yeah, noses are still a struggle for me even after all these years. I mean, it's tough to get them to look good, I think, and they're really not that hard to draw the basic shapes, but it is tough to get them to look. It's still tough to get them to look decent. You have to have a really good understanding of the basic structure to get them to look halfway decent. So here I'm just drawing a close-up of the bridge of the nose. What it might look like. Yeah, my camera's shaking. I have to really, I might try to see if I can find a gimbal or something that can stop all the movement. Because the camera would still move, but the gimbal would solve that problem. And then my camera wouldn't be moving around. Yeah, this is definitely real time. I can tell by how fast I'm writing. So anyway, I'm just saying here, I really recommend using reference for drawing noses, especially when you're first starting, to try to learn the shapes and learn where everything goes. Use reference. It's always better to use reference. Your drawings are always going to look better with reference, but I would recommend definitely using reference at first. Like I said, the nose is something that if you don't draw it convincingly enough, it can look really bad, and it can ruin the whole face. So, same with eyes and same with lips. The features have to be drawn well, and it takes a while to learn them. So don't feel bad if you're struggling. I still struggle with it, but in here I'm saying remember, you want to be drawing your basic shapes first, and then what you can actually do, I didn't show it in the video, but what you can actually do is you can draw your basic boxy outline and then lighten that down and then draw the nose inside of it. Remember a couple of videos back I was showing you how when you draw something inside of a box it's easier. You can do the same thing for this. You would just, instead of a box, you would make it like your triangle shape. And you would make a 3D version of that and then lighten that down and then draw the nose inside of it. I didn't actually demonstrate that, but maybe I'll do that for the next nose video. I'll try to draw some more extreme angles and draw the nose inside of it. So like here what I'm doing is I'm drawing kind of a nose, maybe laying, like if a head's kind of tilted back or maybe laying down or something. That's kind of what I'm doing here to show that you do see the nose from different views. So but I think I can do that for episode 2 of how to draw, or part 2 of how to draw noses. I can try to make up some different angles, and we can follow along with that and try to flesh those out in some more difficult poses. These were pretty basic views and pretty basic poses, just straight on, 3/4, really no perspective or up shots or anything like that. I can do that in part 2, which we're gonna do. That'll be next week, part 2 of how to draw noses. So anyway, it's basically going to wrap it up for this video, which is how to draw noses, part 1, episode 16. I really hope that you guys are enjoying the series so far. I'm really, really loving making it. It's been really, really fun to just sit down and honestly, even for myself, go through some of these basics again and learn them all over again. It's been really, really fun. And so I really hope you're enjoying the series. I hope that you definitely take this video and you spend the next week practicing your noses, and I hope that it helps you, and I hope that you learn a little something from it. And up at the top there, you can see I kind of darken in some of those lines, making them a little easier to see. But definitely be practicing this stuff. I mean, I'm not making these just to sit on the internet. I'm making them to try to help you guys. And so I hope that you're practicing your noses. Practice your noses, because next week is going to be noses part 2. So that's going to be it for this video. I hope you share and subscribe and like and practice, and have a good week, and I'll see you next time.